Hey everybody, Lieutenant Shannon Selichek, Insightfulfirefighter.com. Have you ever had like a really awesome goal, a really big goal, and just completely bombed it? Me too. You know, that kind of creates this whole fork in the road moment, right? I mean, when you've really gone after a goal, maybe you're in the testing process, maybe you've not done well on a written exam or didn't do very well on an interview, or maybe you're in the promotional process. Maybe you totally augured in on your tactical, or maybe your written exam wasn't high enough to make the next cut. Either way, when we really go for something and we fail, we make a mistake, it kind of creates that whole fork in the road moment. You know the one where you're saying to yourself, well, I've got a couple of different options. One option, I gave it my all, and hey, I didn't make it. I didn't move on. I didn't get the score I needed to. I'm done. I'm out. And if you choose that option, you're right. You are out. But mainly because you've taken yourself out of the game. If, on the other hand, you choose the other option, the option to stay in the game, as painful as it is, I really think there's two things that contribute to your ultimate success. And one of those is recognizing that, the failure part, the part where you just are all awkward and learning kind of how to do something really awesome, that's part of the process. It's part of the process of success to make those sometimes just gut-wrenching mistakes. And they hurt. They can be painful. But if you continue on that second path, the path where you're still in the game, the path where you continue to say, okay, just going to get up, going to dust myself off, I'm going to take another baby step towards my goal. But I'm still in the game. If you recognize that mistakes and bumps in the road and hurdles, it's all part of the process. It's all part of the process. If we make those mistakes block our future, become, roadblocks as opposed to hurdles, then we'll never reach our goals. You got to stay in the game. You've got to stay in the game as hard as it is. The second thing I think that ultimately when I've studied successful people, and I know for myself, when I've made big mistakes and I've stayed in the game, I think the other big thing, besides recognizing it's part of the process, is really reaching out. And this is something that, I think firefighters suck at in general, and I know I suck at specifically. It's hard. It's hard when you made a mistake and you didn't do something great, because let's face it, I think I get a little embarrassed, but to ask for help can sometimes really make the difference between ultimately succeeding and continuing to make mistakes. And that's a really hard thing, to ask other people for help. But think about all the people who have been successful in front of you. Think about all the people who have tested to be a firefighter and have hit bumps on the road and have gone on. Think about all the people who have stepped up and decided, yeah, even though the promotional process is brutal, yes, I'm going to step up and I'm going to go through the process and I'm going to hit the bumps. If you look at those people and ask those people for help, ask those people for their insider tips and tricks, that can kind of get you over the hurdle. That can ultimately help you. I think just knowing that other people have made mistakes and have ultimately been successful, I think to me, that's heartening. So this is a little bit risky, I know. But you know what I would love to do, since we're all a community here of trying to be a firefighter, or testing to promote, and we're all part of the bigger fire service family. If you have a story where you were in the testing process or the promotional process and you had kind of an epic fail or even a small fail, and you were really bummed out by it, but you continued and you were successful, if you shared that, think about the impact that may have in terms of keeping somebody who's awesome on their road either to becoming an officer or to becoming a firefighter. And let's face it, we need as many awesome people as we can get in the fire service. And we need as many awesome people who are already in the fire service to take that next step, that hard next step of becoming a leader in their organization. So if you can share down below, that would be awesome. And one other thing, sometimes I think about, gosh, it's so hard not to compare when you're in the promotional process or the testing process. Oh, I can't believe so-and-so, they got hired. I can't believe so-and-so, they got promoted. Why not me? We all know that going that route is, it's just a recipe to be bummed out. I mean, you can't compare your progress to somebody else's progress. Instead, try this. Think of where you are now. And think of yourself and where you were, not anybody else, just you, where you were 6 months or 3 months from now, even a year from now, back in time. So compare your awesomeness now to where you were 3 to 6 months from now. See, you feel better already. A lot of times we just don't give ourselves credit for how far we've progressed and how far we've come. So use that little tip. And I would love it if you shared an instance down below of when you had a challenge and overcome it to inspire somebody else. And until next time, dare to bring your awesomeness to the world.